It's another week of baseball talk here on KSUThoroughbreds.com and the Thoroughbred Sports Network. Being joined by Coach Rob Henry. We took a week off last week due to spring break and a little bit of travel, but there's a few things to talk about. First off, we talk about how the green room is set up this week. Interesting that your team is going to have dinner with the opposing Tuskegee team this week.
Right. That's something we talked about last year. We had a great series with them down at their ballpark. And, one of the things that I talked about with Coach Hollins and Coach Kirby, and we all kind of agreed that, the teams have a lot of respect for each other. There's a healthy rivalry there. I think in the last 5 years, we've won exactly as many as we've lost with them. So it's been a healthy rivalry, one where we have a lot of respect for each other. And we talked about doing something together as a ball club, or as two ball clubs, just because, there's not always a lot of that. Sometimes we get so wrapped up in the wins and the losses, and you got to hate the other guy and this and that. And, sometimes it's okay, to really get after each other between the white lines or on the field or on the court or whatever. But, there's a lot more to it as well, especially from the HBCU perspective. It's kind of a unique atmosphere and one that we're working on celebrating here tonight.
Definitely a cool concept that you guys are taking on for this week with Tuskegee. Let's talk a little baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Your pitching staff. And from what we've seen, I believe, over the last 4 or 5 games, they'll give up 14 runs.
Right.
That's been an impressive because you're starting to get away from just relying on Josh Dunn, and you're seeing guys like Shea Butler step up. You're seeing Justin Stinson have a great game the other day.
Right.
Your pitching staff seems to kind of fall into a good situation right now. What has been the difference compared to now maybe at the beginning of the season?
Well, the biggest thing we had, and it started with the Joe Crisp start at Asbury last Thursday, is we've talked all season long about winning the free base game, and that means avoiding walks, hit by pitches, errors, stolen bases, things that are somewhat controllable. And Joe went out and had a start last week where he gave up 7 or 8 hits in the first 4 innings, but had only given up 2 runs because there were no free bases. He wasn't walking anybody. He wasn't hitting anybody. And, we wound up winning that game 10-4, and they scored 4 runs on, I think, 9, 10, 11 hits over the course of the ball game. But because there weren't a lot of free bases, there weren't a lot of runs scored. So, we built off of that start. Josh Dunn had his normal good start against Payne. And then Shea Butler came out and threw lights out. We lost 1-0, and the 1 run was scored because of some free bases ahead of it. But up until that point in the 7th inning, we had gone without almost any free bases. And then you turn around the next day, Josh Owsley has a great start. We beat Payne 8-2 to finish up that series. And then Justin Stinson has a great start on Tuesday against Miami Hamilton. A game we lose, 3-2 because we give up, 2 runs in the 7th inning. But again, the free bases has been the biggest difference. And we've had 5 pitchers with 5 great starts in a row. And it's been a nice change because we've been pitching a lot more to contact as opposed to having a base hit followed by a walk, followed by a hit by pitch, and then followed up by another base hit. Now, if you look at it, realistically, if you give up 2 hits an inning and you don't have any free bases, you're going to wind up pitching yourself an 18-hit shutout. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing we try to impress with our pitchers. As long as you're not giving up the big loud hits, the doubles and the home runs, and as long as you're not giving up walks and HBPs in between, you're going to have a solid outing, and they've done that this week. I've been really impressed with them.
Now, as advanced as the pitching staff has gotten the last few weeks, it seems like the lineup, you're getting production, but you're not getting timely production. Mm-hmm. Why is that?
I think a big reason is because our hitters are pressing a little bit. They want to do so well, so badly, that a lot of times they wind up getting themselves in the mindset of I have to get an RBI here, or I have to get a hit. And we talk about the balance beam a lot when it comes to the mentality and the approach and how you play this game. The obvious, the place where you want to be in the middle is you want to be focused on the task at hand. Okay, do you want to elevate the baseball? Do you want to hit a ground ball to the middle because the shortstop and the second baseman are playing back? Do you need to get a bunt down to one side or the other because how the defense is rotating? And what happens is on one side of that balance beam is just a lackadaisical mindset or a lazy mindset or just an I don't care mindset or I'm going to get mine kind of mindset. And our guys have never been in that approach this year. But where we have been on the other side has been the pressing. I've got to get a hit here. The team needs me to get this done here. And I see that a little bit in our body language with our players, and we talk about that a lot. But, it's one thing to talk about it in practice and pregame BP, and it's another when you're up in the 8th inning with 2 guys on base and you're down a run, to come through in that situation. So to me, that's the biggest one is we've got to work on that mindset a little bit more. And, it's hard to replicate in practice because at the end of the day when it comes to practice, there's not the same ramifications in your performance as there are in a ball game. So The hope and the expectation is as we go through this weekend and match up with Tuskegee and on into next week, is that mindset continues to be something that we work at and improve, just like our pitching has. We're right there. We're real close. And, you look at our record and think we're not having a great year, but you look at the scores of the ball games and the games that we've been in, we've had several walk-off losses, several one-run losses, a couple extra inning losses. So, we're right there. We're knocking on the door of being a really, really good ball club.
This weekend, KSU will host Tuskegee University in a 3-game conference series right here in Frankfort. And when you come here, you're going to probably notice something different behind the backstop. We'll talk about that next week. Hope to see you here in the capital city for the 3-game series this weekend. Friday doubleheader, Saturday 1 9 a.m. affair. For Coach Rob Henry, I'm Eric Matthews for the Thoroughbred Sports Network.